Hey, welcome everyone to our bi-weekly information session. My name is Raja Iqbal. I am going to be going over our LLM bootcamp curriculum in just a moment. Just give me one moment to actually get settled here. I will share the right screen and then move on from there. Okay, just a moment. We will go ahead and get started now. Okay. Sorry about the delay. So we'll go ahead and get started. As I said, this is our information session for our Large Language Models Bootcamp. I am Raja. I'm one of the lead instructors at Data Science Dojo. Um, yeah, so I've been doing machine learning, AI, call it data science, now call it generative AI for a long time. And I've been involved in as a lead instructor at Data Science Dojo for quite some time. Um, And we have been training in industry, one of the oldest training companies, actually, when it comes to AI and machine learning. Many companies, I mean, estimated 3,000 plus companies represented globally, probably every single country and territory on the planet represented in one of our trainings. Many companies we have run enterprise training programs with them, and more than 11,000 graduates from our training programs. Um, I will jump right into our the Large Language Models Bootcamp. Um, so very often you get this question where people say, "Hey, why do I need to attend a boot camp for building a large language models application?" And I can build it in 30 minutes or very quickly, in less than an hour. I will just go and clone this Git repository, and why can't I just go and build it myself? The reality of enterprise applications is, yes, you can build a very basic chatbot on your data. In no time, you don't need to go through any training. But when it comes to enterprise deployment of these applications, you have to worry about a lot of things. You have to worry about, let's say, versioning of prompts. You have prompts that change. You have to worry about the governance and compliance aspect of your application. We also have a product. We are a company that is not only training people, and that's actually what also makes us unique. That we are not merely a training company. We are also a company that is building applications. We have deployed multiple enterprise-grade large language models applications for different companies. And we have seen a lot of interesting challenges. We have dealt with infosec teams worried about your prompts being hijacked or jailbreak. We have done red teaming on not just from a security aspect, but also from a from a prompt hacking and jailbreaking aspect. We have dealt with regulatory challenges. I mean, PII, PHI, HIPAA compliance type challenges. We have dealt with scalability issues. So there are so many different challenges when you actually deploy these applications in an enterprise. It is no longer just simply a chatbot. You have a lot of things that you need to worry about. So, building small piece of software, building a machine learning model that only runs on your laptop, it will have a very different skill that might be needed. But when you deploy these applications at scale, when you have a lot to lose as a company, you have regulatory compliance obligations. You have to worry about the maintainability and scalability of your infrastructure. That is what makes a lot of these things very hard. So we talk about all of those challenges during our training. Um, so here is a very high overview of what we do in this bootcamp. Pretty much the entire stack of an LLM application is going to be covered in the bootcamp. So we'll start with the fundamentals of how AI and neural networks and general machine learning, how it works. We'll talk about embeddings and transformers and attention mechanism. I will show you some of the exercises that we have. I cannot definitely go through every single thing that we have. We spend about quite a bit of time on vector databases. Databases tend to be the central core piece in building a large language model application, especially the RAG applications that we build, retrieval augmented generation applications. We spend a lot of time on LangChain. LangChain, pretty much all the features. And most recently, LangGraph, agentic workflows. Think about having a graph of your workflow as opposed to just a simple what we call the naive RAG or basic RAG application. So we talk about that in detail. We get into the observability and monitoring and guardrails business in a lot of detail. How do you monitor your application? How do you deploy guardrails on your application? Prompt engineering, of course, is going to be there. Evaluation. We spend a lot of time on evaluation, and not just was very basic evaluation. We go in depth on evaluation. What kind of benchmark data sets are possible? What kind of metrics are possible? What kind of tasks are possible? And then we go and do hands-on exercises for these. And then we look at evaluation not only from the inference angle, but also from the retrieval angle. We talk about deployment and ops related to LLMs. Fine-tuning, we fine-tune a Llama 2 model, a Llama 2 7 billion 4-bit quantized model during the bootcamp. And we don't directly go to practical exercises, by the way. We start with the theory side of it. We go through why do you need fine-tuning? Uh, what are the different ways of fine-tuning a model? What is knowledge distillation, or what is transfer learning? What is fine-tuning? Then we go into the more of the optimization, optimization aspects of fine-tuning, going through quantization, low rank adaptation, giving you a lot of detail around how that optimization happens. I will show you the content here and there, a few pieces of content and few labs here and there. But everything that you're seeing here, it is going to be practical. I mean, we will definitely will have theoretical discussion, but I mean, so far we have had, we may be touching, close to 200 people that have graduated from this program. We happen to be the only boot camp in industry, as far as I know, and very intense, a week-long learning, and people leave with the actual ability to actually build applications. Um, so the format you can be in class in Seattle. You can also be instructor-led remote online. So basically the same class, a bunch of people sitting in Seattle in the classroom, and some people attending remotely. We have our classroom set up in a manner that people in the class, they can see you, and you, if you're remote, you can see people in the class. And then the same level of interactivity if you cannot make it to Seattle for any reason. Comprehensive curriculum designed by practitioners. So I spend on a given day 80 to 80% or 90% of my time actually building these applications, talking to customers, addressing their concerns, leading engineering. So, and other people who are teaching, they are actually builders, and they are renowned instructors or renowned people who are actually working this space for quite some time. Then we cover all the mainstream tools, libraries, and open source packages, and hands-on experience. And then finally, on the last day of the bootcamp, everyone actually gets to deploy their own application, and understand what does it take to build an end-to-end application. So here is a somewhat outdated view of how the entire LLM ecosystem or an application might look like. The reason I call it outdated is that the ecosystem is changing at a mind-numbing pace. If you look at it, as we speak, within the last 3 to 4 weeks, we have seen model context protocol take over. It's of course not there in this visualization. We need to update this in the slide. And then Google Agent A2A communication, those kind of things. And we are actually updating our curriculum every time something new comes in. We actually make sure that those things are included in our curriculum. So, but this is a generic view of things without the latest updates from the last month or so. Um, at the core of it, when you deploy an application, you need either a large language model. It could be closed source, it could be open source. It could be, in case of open source, it could be hosted on-prem. You could deploy it as in your own cloud, or you can also have a hosted version from one of the providers. But at the core of it, you have a large language model deployed as a service. You're using that, but that is not it. You also need a vector database. A vector database actually stores the repository of your documents. You keep it there. There are dozens of vector databases. We go with VV8, one of the leading vector databases. They are our partners, and we have 6 or 7 exercises that I will show you in a bit. Then you go for embeddings model. You have different kind of embedding model. Embedding models actually help you with search in the vector database. More details on this in a moment. Then you have these frameworks. You can be using Llama Index. You can be using Chat. You can be using Llama Index or LangChain or Crew AI or Microsoft Semantic Kernel. There are a lot of players in this space. Then when we talk about guardrails and monitoring and ops, once again, we have, well, we talk about guardrails, we talk about semantic caching, we talk about validation and guardrails and so on. So a lot is going on. We actually cover most components of this ecosystem, fairly comprehensive curriculum that we have built. Let me actually show you in a moment. I will show you in the learning platform in just a bit. Now, basically, the idea is we want to enable you to be able to build a custom application from scratch. So a custom RAG application from scratch, and having a good understanding of how the application has been built. This is the technology stack that we use throughout the bootcamp. Often there is a question about prerequisites. Well, as long as you have working knowledge of Python, and as long as you I mean, even if not Python, we have tutorials in Python. As long as you can code in one language, I think that should be good, and general understanding of the general data space. If you're a developer, nothing to worry about. If you're working in data space, nothing much to worry about. Let me go over the curriculum. Okay. So if you look at this, this is our online learning platform. If you look at this from here, we start with the overall understanding of the entire ecosystem. Just give you a complete overview. Let's call it the breadth of the system. Then we start taking a deep dive into transformers and attention mechanism. We spent about 3 to 4 hours on this topic alone. And when we go here, let me actually show you what we have. So you may actually have, let me see here. Okay, here. So if you look at this here, So this session is taught by Luis Serrano. He teaches this session. And then you can see that, we start with the very, very basics. I mean, so we don't assume any understanding, and then we go and start talking about, transformers and, encoder, decoder architecture, attention mechanism, how does it work, how are embeddings related to it, the KQV matrices and all of that. So we set that solid foundation. And once that solid foundation is set up, we go and talk about vector databases. And when we talk about vector databases, we do not simply just go and talk about only about vector databases. We actually give a very detailed understanding of when to use vector databases, how. Let me actually bring up the slide deck here in case anyone is curious. So if you look at this, so we're not going to simply go ahead and talk about exercises or just leave only with theory and not doing practice. We are going to actually talk about vector databases in a lot of detail. Any theoretical concepts that you need for learning about vector databases, we start with, how do they compare with a standard SQL database? What does a vector query look like? And then we build that momentum. How does a vector database fit in the pipeline? And then we keep going like this. Explain what is a lexical similarity, what is a vector search, what is keyword search, what is hybrid search, how do you filter and facet and create multi-tenant deployments of vector databases. You will see that we will slowly, gradually build the technical foundation needed for building a solid application. And then we also talk about, your database can potentially, your vector database can have potentially millions or maybe tens of millions of embeddings. Once you have those tens of millions of embeddings, how do you actually retrieve those embeddings or those the corresponding documents? How do you retrieve them in sub-millisecond time frame? So we talk about all of that. We talk about those optimization techniques. But not just that, we actually go and talk about then we also talk about practical exercises. And when we talk about practical exercises, then uh, for instance, right? So we have this exercise on vector search, and when you look at the vector search exercise, we'll give you the a URL to a deployed URL to a vector database. So actually, we help you actually set it up. You deploy your own vector database. You create a collection, which is the equivalent for a table in a standard SQL database. And then we go and now show you how to import data. How do you run a query? You can see that I'm searching a vector that is close to this vector. And then we slowly build this momentum and go to incrementally difficult exercises. I cannot show you everything, of course, but if you look at this, now we have this exercise. This is a hybrid search exercise. So I'm uploading a data set here. Uh, Basically, I'm creating creating a collection, a table, and in this case, I'm using the OpenAI model, the text embedding 3 model. And then if you look at this, I'm creating some fields. Some of them are going to be vectorized, others are not going to be vectorized. This is the data set that I am actually. Let me actually bring it up. So this is the data set that I'm pushing into the vector database. If you look at this, I have this category and question and answer. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm pushing this data into this vector database, and then I'm showing you how to query this. So if you look at this, it's very, very hands-on. We're giving you a very practical experience. It is not just, hey, here's something called a vector database. This is how you use it. You will leave with practical experience. You can see that there is this hybrid search. when you're combining your semantic search with your lexical or keyword search, you can see that I'm searching for some keywords here. It is telling me which vectors are similar and how much the similarity is, and so on. So then I can use my standard SQL filtering and so on. So as I said, very practical, very hands-on experience. And then we spend about 5 to 6 hours on vector databases. Once that is done, now you understand how semantic search is created, how RAG pipelines are built. Then we move on to uh, uh, LangChain. And LangChain we cover in a lot of detail. We spend about good 8 hours on just LangChain. If you look at this, so we will be talking about why LangChain and why is it important to have tools like LangChain. So set the context. How do they help us build an application? And once that is done, if you look at this, there is this thing called a prompt template, right? So if you look at this, you have okay, I'm sorry, I'm clicking on the wrong link here. Doesn't work, I can go back to, okay, let me go to the different one. Sorry about that, folks. We'll go to here. This is our newer version of the learning platform. I will go to here. So if I go here in LangChain here, so let me go model IO, same exercises, different UI here. So let's say prompt templates. This is the one that did not load, and that experience. Now it does. So now if you look at this, so this is an exercise. We'll go and talk about why do you need prompt templates, right? So you see this is how you define a template. You run this exercise. We finish this exercise and move on to the next exercise. So if you look at this, we have how do you connect your application to different kinds of data sources? How do you connect it to a Dropbox or SharePoint? How do you parse a JSON or a PDF? How do you parse? How do you give it examples, few short examples? How do you build memory, right? So it retains the context of the conversation. How do you build agents? How do you connect a search agent or a search tool to your application? How do you connect Wikipedia to your application? So how do you build a graph with your application so that if you have multiple LLM calls, they are working together. So these kind of things we go in a lot of detail. Then we go on after we finish LangChain, we get into the business of fine tuning. And fine tuning, as I mentioned earlier, for those of you who are joining late, we start with the fundamentals of fine tuning. Why do you need fine tuning? What is transfer learning? What is distillation? What is low rank adaptation? What is quantization? What are the challenges? And we talk about both the theory side of it and also the practical side of it. And then once we have done it, once we have covered the theory part of it, we get inside the practical exercise. Everyone gets a GPU cluster in RunPod. RunPod is also a partner for the bootcamp. We give everyone access to a RunPod cluster, and you get a GPU key. You get a GPU access, and then you also get necessary software keys, etc. And then you go and fine tune a Llama 2 7 billion 4-bit quantized model, and we compare both models with each other. Um, the unquantized model and the quantized model. Then we also get into the evaluation business, right? So when we talk about evaluation, we are not simply just talking about evaluation in theory. We are actually getting into a lot more detail. We are talking about, I will show you. So we talk about natural language translation. How do you evaluate translation? How do you evaluate In a semantic sense, how do you evaluate your RAG pipeline? In this case, if you look at this, we show you an example of how to evaluate your model using how do you evaluate your RAG application with this metrics. We're using RAGs, which has metrics around both retrieval and also inference. Um, then we also have content or modules around observability. Arise is a partner for that. We show you why observability matters, and how you set up observability on your applications. We talk about guardrails. Why do you need guardrails? Sometimes poor output from your application, it can land you in trouble in terms of regulatory or compliance issues. So we talk about setting up guardrails as well. We get into the details of what kind of challenges you can expect while building an application. So very rich, very complete, comprehensive curriculum. We go over pretty much anything under the sun that is possible when it comes to building an LLM application. Of course, things that have been around for some time, and then anything new that happens between the previous offering and the new offering, we we add it in our curriculum, and then also invite our past attendees to they can attend our sessions remotely when it comes to any new content that we have added, because the field is moving so fast. If something new happens in between, our alumni, they are invited to attend those sessions. I think I have gone over all of these things already. Let me see where we are. At the end of the week, you will be building an LLM application. Will be throughout the entire week. You just need to bring your laptop. You don't need to worry about any software, any API keys, any tokens, any cost. Everything is included. Just bring your laptop and start learning, right? So, and then you will be given up to there's a upper limit, of course, up to $500 credit for software subscription and cloud services. You will be earning a verified certificate of completion from the University of New Mexico. And what this does is it also makes, if you're working for certain companies, a lot of companies, if you're working for certain companies, it allows you to be eligible for tuition remission, tuition reimbursement from your companies. Many companies, certain programs that are offered through accredited institutions, which in our case is the case. Um, we are offering this boot camp in partnership with the University of New Mexico. As a result of this, when you attend this boot camp, you will be eligible for tuition reimbursement from your company as part of the benefits program. This is some of the companies. These are some of the companies whose cover, as far as we know. Last boot camp, we had folks from Apple and Boeing and I believe Chevron who got reimbursed. And then other boot camps, of course, we have had different people from different companies at a different point. And once again, I repeat this, this is not something that you get approved and the budget. This is part of your benefits. You may want to check with the HR. And these are the instructors who, based on their availability, they are available for the next boot camp. I can verify that I'll be there. I'm one of the lead instructors. Luis will be there. Sebastian will be there. Then John will be there, and Sage will be there, and possibly Sam will be there. So we have people coming from different companies who will be coming in and teaching every boot camp, depending upon their availability. These are our bootcamp partners who in different space for observability, for knowledge graphs, for frameworks for guardrails, for data governance. So this is our partnership ecosystem. So they actually support us with their top world-class instructors or resources or free credits for the infrastructure to keep this bootcamp high quality. We have people working from, this is only some of the companies. We have people who have attended, and there's more than 3,500 logos on our portfolio. There are many people who work for top companies who started their careers by attending one of our boot camps. So here is some of our partners. They are raving about us. Um, our alumni, I mean, we have hundreds of people actually recommending us on our website, real people, actual companies, no John Does and Jane Does. I mean, real people working for real companies. Go check out our website. Tons of people, they have attended our training. The next bootcamp is happening in Seattle from June 9th to 13th. Um, June 9th to 13th, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. This is both online or and in person. Okay. I think there is a question, build an LLM solution from scratch if exist, free LLM. I'm not sure what the question means. Let me try to interpret the question and then see. I believe you're asking why build an LLM solution from scratch if there are free LLMs already available. Um, I'm assuming, Oscar, your question is about why you build your own application when ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini are available. So yes, I mean, those cases might work for end users. But at the end of the day, imagine if you are a healthcare company, imagine if you are a company that has some proprietary data, you would not want your employees to be actually uh, they will not be using some of those tools. And we are not talking about only ChatGPT is merely more like a chat assistant, maybe writing a social media perhaps asking some general questions, maybe writing an essay or a proposal, etc. We're talking about much more than that. We are talking about multi-agent systems. We're talking about building serious applications internally for connecting to your healthcare records, connecting to your pharma or drug trial type records. We are talking about some sensitive proprietary data that you cannot actually let anyone outside of your enterprise touch. We're talking about meeting your regulatory and compliance obligations with the agencies and your customers. And so I think this is what we are referring to. I'm happy to answer if I can get more context around the question, but this is how we understood it, and hence I answered it this way. Okay, that is good. Okay. And there is a this common question, will I be able to actually build an end-to-end application by the end of the boot camp? Yes, you will be able to build a basic agentic application by the end of the boot camp, but there is sometimes looking at ChatGPT and looking at Claude and perplexities of the world, sometimes we underestimate the complexity of building these applications. So there is going to be some learnings and your own journey that is going to be there as you um, as we as you start building those solutions. Okay. Okay, so there is a question. Would this question count as day 1 of 5 for this bootcamp? If not, how can I go about acquiring a calendar invite to ensure notification of actual 5 days straight through event? I'm not sure what Tabang Manaso. No, this is not day 1. This is not even close to day 1. I mean, this is just a very high level overview of what the bootcamp is about. A real bootcamp, as some of the attendees describe it, is brutal but in a good way, right? So we teach, we have all the resources in place, but I mean, it is not actually broadcasted on LinkedIn, so you will not be getting an invite on LinkedIn. You will have to register on our website to be able to go and really build or attend the bootcamp. Okay. I'll give it maybe a few more moments if there are any other questions. That sounds good then. Okay. Um, Thank you, everyone. And I'm looking forward to seeing some of you at the bootcamp. Thanks.